We welcome you to an evening of Speedway basketball here on Speedway Community TV and the ISC Sports Network. It's an Indiana Crossroads Conference get-together between the Saints of Lutheran, who check in at 9-7 on the season, while the Speedway Sparkplugs are 2-14. But both those victories have come in ICC play, so maybe again tonight the Sparkplugs can pull the victory. We are now joined to start our broadcast, as we always are, by the head coach now in his 20th season here at Speedway High School. It's Chuck Bennett. My friend, it is always good to see you, and I know that as a head coach, you measure more things that are far more important than wins and losses. Some about the progress that maybe fans haven't seen in the record, but that you have seen from your team this season.
Yeah, if you judge us based on our record, you'd probably think, okay, they're not a very good team. But I've been real proud of my kids all year long because we've continued to battle. We had an injury earlier in the year to one of our guards, Cale Bennett. He was our leading three-point shooter, defensive specialist, energy guy. So we played 13 games without him. He came back a couple games ago against Cascade, helped us get that victory. But then just all season long, we've been in 8 games where we've had to lead in the fourth quarter, have not been able to close out in some games. Even just after Christmas, we've been usually at halftime within a couple points and just not able to finish in the second half. Turnovers have plagued us all year long, although against Martinsville last week, we got that cleaned up in the second half by only having 2 and played them really tough. And if it wasn't for the free throw advantage, they made 20, we only made 6. We had more 2-point field goals, 1 less 3-point field goal. The difference might have been good. So, in terms of that, the victories would be nice. But as you said, conference play, we come in 2-2. Lutheran's 3-2. Beech Grove probably looks like they're going to end up winning it. Of course, they're talented, but we're fighting there for second. I know Ritter's only got 1 loss now, but they still have a couple of conference games left. So we think we can hold pat at 2 losses. Maybe we'll finish second, which would be our highest finish since back in the mid part of 2013, 14, 15, right in there.
I realize that to some degree you coach all these young men like they are your kids and
right.
that you love them. But there are 3 young men that do have your last name that are your children. And now, with the injury bringing everybody back together, what's it like having the entire family, so to speak, on the bench?
It has its rewards. There's no question. But yeah, I've always told kids that I coach that you're like my sons.
Yeah.
And everybody says, who's your favorite player? Well, it's not that way. It's like. We ask our kids to be good people, good students, and then good basketball players are good at something else. So, but I'm not going to lie. It is nice to coach them. I think it's probably more heck on their mother than it is anyone else because, she's got to deal with all 3 of them. And fortunately, they all get along on the court. Fortunately, they all understand their roles. Fortunately, they all do what it takes to play Sparkplug basketball. So excited about that. So, it's been good. I think they too are competitors, so they definitely want to win. The 2 that are seniors, Creighton played on the football team, and the football team obviously did well, had some success. He's a long snapper, also a left tackle, and then my son Cale was a goalie on the soccer team, and they've had a heck of a run. And then my youngest plays football as well. So, and then they all do something in the spring too. So, they want Speedway to win, and they've been around a long time and seen a lot of things in the program. So. It is nice to do that.
Tell me about this Lutheran team. Again, solid every year. Remus Woods has turned them a consistent winner.
Yep.
Frankly, they're better than a 9-7 record indicate because some of their losses have been to good 4A teams. A 2-point game against Lawrence North in the Marion County tournament comes to mind. What impresses you about the Saints?
I think they bumped up their schedule a little bit. I think he's come in and done that. I also think that they are probably one of the more athletic teams that I've seen all year long. Number 11, L.J. Ward, for a sophomore guard, extremely quick, pushes the ball, but his ability just jumping-wise, it won't do it justice on TV. The quickness that he can leap with. And then they've got a real good shooter, number 22, DeRay Smith, who can shoot it from anywhere. And then number 10, Caden Loescher, I think he does a real nice job. And then they got big guys inside, like they bring the Patterson twins off the bench, and they are phenomenal. Of course, they're great athletes, too, because they play football. And lately he's been starting some different lineups. He's got a 6'6 sophomore that he starts. So it's just kind of wave after wave after wave. And so I think tonight the key is going to be how do we handle their pressure, because they can put pressure on you. They do a variety of – they have a half-court trap they do. They have a 2-2-1 full court. And I think if we can handle that pressure and then finish at the end of it, we'll be okay. Fortunately, number 3, Nate Metallic, our senior guard, he's done a lot of everything for us, leading scorer, leading assist man, leading rebounder, leading steals, leading blocks. But he sees the floor really well, and he finds guys. So we'll all be interested to see how that pressure handles out. And to be honest with you, we're probably going to change some defenses up, mix it up a little bit, see what we can do, and just try to hang around and grind it out.
Coach,
get a win.
Coach, every year flies by, whether you're 2-14 or 14-2. Can you believe after tonight you're down to 4 games left to go in the regular season?
Well, the draw's coming up, which you'll be doing the show, and the new digs, I think, too.
That's right.
You guys got new digs. I think that's on the 19th, isn't it?
Correct.
Draw's on the 19th. So, yeah, this time of the year, we count our practices and all that, and we've only got 9 practices left in 4 games. So, we tell our kids, hey, every opportunity you have, take advantage of it, because in March, when we lose that final game, whenever it is, it'll be the last one. So I think we'll be excited tonight. It's kind of nice to play on a Thursday, too, something different. Lutheran had something going on tomorrow night, so we had to move it. So I'm looking forward to playing.
Coach, as always, a pleasure. We'll talk to you after the game.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Welcome back, basketball fans, to Pollard Gymnasium, where tonight the Speedway Sparkplugs will take on conference rival, the Lutheran Saints. I'm joined here tonight by a special guest, Greg Raystraw. Greg, I had to write down a few things about you because my memory is much less than my age. For most of you who probably know at least the voice, Greg's vice president of the ISC Sports Network. If soccer is your football, he's also the voice of the Indy 11. I hear that every week. Also, I'm sure you had some training this year. He's also the post-game host for the Colts Radio Network, and also obviously part of the IHSAA Championship Network. But very happy to have him with us tonight. Very honored to have him. And real quickly before I turn it over to you, because I know people want to hear you tonight, but Greg, my first sectional game, I was 6 years old. It was a Milan sectional. It was 1961, and it was one of the years where the big snows came, which we've had very many of them. But over the years, I remember names and voices that I just associate, because this is a big part of my life. And Hilliard Gates and Jerry Baker and even Tom Carnegie doing the sectional, regional, semi-state, and state finals at Hinkle Fieldhouse, and of course Coach Level. And I put your name and your voice right up there with all of them, because I think that's how important it is. When you walk into the gym, I think people know this is a special ISSA event. So welcome to Speedway High School.
Well,
tonight.
First of all, that is some amazing company to keep, so thank you very much. And I am thrilled because the good folks at Speedway Community TV are now in their second year of being partners with us on the ISC Sports Network. So clearly, this game is seen throughout this neighborhood on the near west side of Indianapolis, really across the state on AT&T UVerse, but then again on customers across the state of Indiana to get ISC television and through the ISC social media channel. So it's been great through Brian Pierce and the job you guys have done the last couple of years to bring Speedway girls and boys basketball to the ISC Sports Network. And I'm thrilled that this game got bumped from Friday to a Thursday. It made it an off night for me to come spend some time with you, so looking forward to it.
Good. I know I read one place where a couple of years ago you did over 150 broadcasts throughout the year. Do you have an update on this year?
So that was actually the COVID year of 2020. I think I did 150 something, and that was with having one event from the sectional championship at Lawrence Central that LN won before then everything was shut down the next week. I had a golf event at the end of May and then kind of got back to normal in July. Last year, I did 256 different sporting events over the course of 365 days, and we're off to a rousing start here all of, 40 or so days into 2023.
Yeah. Well, we're, again, looking forward to having you here. I know you talked to Coach Bennett before the game. Just kind of repeat for me, because I didn't hear everything, but his thoughts about the game tonight and where the Lutheran States stand.
You know, really, from a Lutheran State standpoint, one of the things that they have done because of the job that Dave Pash has done to build their football program, there simply put is a higher level of athlete at Lutheran these days than maybe you saw 5, 10, 15 years ago. And so now Remus Woods has to some degree benefited from that as well. You see the Patterson twins. I know that one of them plays on the football team. There's one now back-to-back 1A state championships at Lutheran as well. So even though they are a 1A team in terms of enrollment, Lutheran is obviously as competitive as any program is in the Indiana Crossroads Conference. So their enrollment might be a 4th or a 5th as, say, Beech Grove. From an athleticism standpoint, there's not that big of a gap between, say, Lutheran as well as, a Beech Grove, and obviously Speedway being a part of that conference too. The game on the schedule, I oftentimes, maybe as a coach you felt the same way, I learned as much about teams when they were competitive in a loss as much as I do in a win. I'll see Lawrence North tomorrow night when they take on Ben Davis, basically for the big championship. LN's not a very big basketball team this year, but they're Lawrence North. They're the 10th best team in the state. They're 14-4. They beat Lutheran by 2 in the opening round of the Marion County tournament. So if this Lutheran team has the athleticism to hang with a team like Lawrence North, it tells me they are very capable of making a very deep run in the southern half of the 1A bracket coming up here in a couple, 3 weeks.
Absolutely. Just looking at our comparative schedules, we both are 1-3, surprisingly. We both beat Cascade, and we've lost to Beech Grove, Ritter, and Greenwood Christian. So from that standpoint, we're kind of even, but I agree. Just watching the Saints out there before the game started tonight, a lot of athleticism. So I know Coach Bennett talked about the keys tonight. One's going to be limit turnovers and handle their athleticism. Right now, let's go to Donnie Watson, the PA announcer for the lineups and the national anthem.
On the lower level in the hallway outside the gym opposite the team fitness. Concession stand is located on the second level opposite the American flag. At this time, if you're not already standing, please do so if you're capable as we honor our nation with the playing of our national anthem by the Speedway High School Band. Spirit of sportsmanship, we ask all fans to act responsibly and courteously to those around them. Use of language and detrimental conduct is unacceptable at all IHSA events. Thank you for being a good sport. Now at this time, let's move to starting lineup. First for the visiting Saints of Lutheran. At guard, a 5'10" sophomore, number 2, Devon Jones. A forward, 6'3" sophomore, number 10, Katie Lozier. At guard, a 5'10" sophomore, number 11, LJ Ward. At forward, a 6'6" sophomore, number 21, Rashawn McKinney. And at the end of forward, a 5'11" senior, number 22, Doray Smith. Lutheran is coached by Rita Woods. Now let's pick the starting lineup for your Speedway Sparkplugs. At guard, 6'5" senior, number 3, Nate Vitale. At guard, 5'11" junior, number 20, Tony Spencer. At forward, a 6'4" junior, number 24, Landon Short. At guard, a 5'11" senior, number 25, Theo Bennett. And at forward, a 6'3" freshman, number 31, Drew Vitale. The Plugs are coached by Charles Bennett, assisted by Tim Burley and Christian Ford.
So moments away from tip-off of tonight's conference contest here in the Indiana Crossroads Conference, Speedway and Lutheran. A couple of questions to someone that's been part of all of these broadcasts on ISC and Speedway Community TV. I can give the numbers of Nate Metallic. He does a little bit of everything. How would you describe his game?
Nate's actually our point guard this year, Greg. I think I've seen him pass the ball better this year than I've seen him in the last 3 years. He's been starting since he's been a freshman. Good outside shooter. Hasn't shot a multitude of 3 points this year, 3-point shots, but very skilled offensively, extremely skilled.
Quick three for the Sparkplugs for the first opportunity of the contest. Other question I'll have as we work away into the play-by-play. The absence of Cale Bennett up until a couple of weeks ago, what has that meant for this team?
It meant a lot. Cale went down the first game of the season against Covenant Christian. Came back the last weekend the first time. Cale's very athletic. He was a goaler on our soccer team, sectional champions 3 or 4 years in a row. Very athletic, defensively very good player. So yes, it definitely was a negative factor in our season.
And again, very unique. Metallic point guard, 3 assists a game. Leading scorer, 18.5 points a game, but also because of his size, pretty good rebounder. He leads that category as well, 5.5 boards a game. Turnover at the other end from Lutheran, and now we are seeing, I think, a second different defense on a second trip down the floor. Looked like a 3-2 the last time. Now it is a diamond and 1, with Smith being the player that is being shadowed by Cale Bennett.
Yes. I've not seen us play, some people refer to them as junk defenses, but I've not seen us play a lot of that this year, if any. So this is a little bit unusual, and I like it. I think sometimes when you may be the underdog in the game, anything that you can show the other team that they have not seen in the year, and something you may even want to do in a sectional against the team.
One man's junk is other man's treasure.
Exactly.
2 turnovers so far by Lutheran in the first 70 seconds of this game. Straight man-to-man here coming from the Saints. Last year, Lutheran 19-6. They lost to a place you know well, Jacksonville, in the regional final. 9-7 is Remus Wood's teams this year. Metallic took a little bit of a shot to the face, I think, that time on the way up. He does draw the foul. He'll shoot 2. Nate is an 86% free throw shooter. In talking with Chuck Bennett before today's game and kind of corresponding via email, asked him, I said, all right, you see a young man with his size and numbers he's got. There clearly is a future beyond high school basketball for him, and rattled off a variety of the top Division III programs in the state. Wabash, Trine, Franklin, even Elmhurst, part of the very good CCIW Great Division III League in Illinois. Potentially landing spots for Nate, and such confidence in his ability to be able to knock down free throws that his teammates all back up off the line. 86% shooter knocks them down both. 2-0 the score in favor of the Plugs. Alley-oop, good-looking ball, and that is Caden Loescher, 6'3 sophomore, 9 points a game. Loescher does a variety of things for Lutheran. 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists a game. Coach, I know one of the things that caught your attention about this Lutheran team, very balanced team for Coach Woods.
Yeah, I looked at their scoring averages before the game started.
Count that basket by Metallic.
A lot of them are between 8 and 14 points, 5 or 6 kids in that area. And I think that's what makes the team even more dangerous as opposed to what we're trying to do defensively.
Metallic gets the bucket. He's got 4. Quickly, you'll see Cam Patterson check back in. Cam wears 5. KJ wears 34. They look identical because, well, largely they are 6'5 seniors, and they literally average 7 points and 5 rebounds a game. And again, Metallic once again all by his lonesome at the free throw line, and you can see why. He's got all 5 Sparkplug points here in the first 2 minutes, and now again let's see the different variation here by Speedway, and it will be the odd front zone, the 3-2, the 1-2-2, on kind of how things line up. And frankly, Ron, you're seeing more teams play this zone as a way to get out and play zone, but still cover 3-point shooters on the wing. And
that's obviously the weaknesses are in the baseline, so you got to be able to have wing guys down low that can cover that. But
and when you haven't played that much zone, it is so tough to rebound out of a zone.
Yes. And, of course, we know where most of the missed shots go.
Baseline corner 3 is good for Devon Jones. Jones, a 5'9 sophomore, 2 points and 2 rebounds a game. Little 3-quarter court trap by Lutheran. First Speedway turnover. Metallic gets the block, but a second opportunity coming here, and that is L.J. Ward, who is the leading scorer for the Saints, just a sophomore, at 14 points, 3 boards, and 4 assists a game. And Saints enjoying their first lead. Now they'll play a little 1-3-1 trap here in the half court. Deep 3, in and out, no good. That is for Drew Metallic, the younger of the 2 Metallic brothers. 5.5 points and a board a game for the freshman. Side out of bounds coming up here for Speedway. The gentleman will be handing the ball off to the inbounder, and Cody Fenters for Speedway is Pick Russell. Pick is not that far removed from being a Division I official. This is kind of his retirement gig, if you will, working high school games. And Fenters gets the bucket to go. The 5'11 junior, averaging 5 a contest. Solid start for Coach Bennett's squad.
Cody got a good outside shot, can take the ball to the basket pretty well when given the opportunity. Has had a very nice season for us.
So Lutheran, a team on the season, just a 26% three-point shooting team, and they make just under 4. Now, that was way too easy from the Speedway perspective as Ward found the soft spot in the zone. And I bring those numbers up, Coach, because, again, if you're making 4 threes a game and shooting 26% from three-point range, I guarantee you've seen some zone at some point in time this year.
And it's also good coaching, the fact that, and they've not taken that many threes on the season.
There's a three that is good for Metallic.
A two-point shooting team. I think they're shooting around 58%.
Yeah, once you get to February, you kind of know what you are and what you are not as a basketball team. So 10-9 Plugs have the early lead. Short corner, 15-foot baseline jumper does not go, and Metallic with the uncontested rebound. That was Rayshawn McCaney that missed from 17. Trailer 3 does not go, but following the shot, that time on the miss was Cale Bennett. And Bennett limited because of a facial injury, a compound fracture of the cheek, which is something I'm not sure I've said in a broadcast before, hence why he's wearing that mask. Patterson got it to go as Metallic couldn't get the steal. So that is Cam Patterson that got the bucket. And speaking to the balance of this Lutheran team, 4 different players have scored here in the first 5 minutes. Good-looking basket cut, a foul. Let's see if it's, I think it's going to be on the drive, not on the shot, as Drew Metallic draws the foul. And Patterson whistled for it.
Already the 4th foul on the Lutheran Saints. Speedway has not yet committed a foul. Could come into play here late in the first half.
Aiden Ali will check in. 6-foot senior, 8 points and 2 rebounds a game. And Coach Woods will ask for a full timeout. We will keep it right here.
You know, another thing the Speedway's done several times changing defenses, it just gets teams to stop and think about it. As long as we can eliminate the turnovers, I know we threw the ball away there on that one press, but we got to slow the game down a little bit, and that's one way you can do it.
The Speedway team has 4 games, I should say, left after this evening. Next 2 on the road, 2 at home to finish the campaign. Shortridge here on Wednesday, February the 22nd, and then Indiana Crossroads Conference foe Triton Central to round out the season on February the 24th. What did you want to see from your team in mid-February, kind of 2 weeks out to the sectional? How are you changing how you were coaching that squad up, knowing the sectional is not that far away?
Well, a lot of times, obviously, our practice sessions would be a lot less.
Yeah.
Maybe an hour and 15 minutes, a lot of fast work. And then also the scouting. I know Coach Bennett's staff, everybody takes a turn scouting a different team. And you're also looking at those things, and you're starting maybe throw something in some of your practices that you might see against teams that are playing in your sectional.
Quick substitution here for Speedway. Devin Robinson in for the first time.
Devin, a good contributor on Shane Clampet's football team.
Had a chance to talk to Shane before the game. Metallic misses. Robinson, the putback, couldn't get it to go. Eventually tracked down by the Saints. Patterson runs the floor, misses the layup. A good tough rebound in transition by Landon Short. First time we mentioned his name. 6'3 junior, 7 points, 5 rebounds a game, and the pull-up 3 is good from Metallic. For Drew, that is his second made 3, and we reference the struggles from 3 for Lutheran. They are equal, if not as much, for the Plugs.
Yes.
26% from three-point range, and they are making less than 3 a contest. And there is another one that goes for Aiden Ali. Ali, 8 points, 2 rebounds a game. 5th different Saint to score. We saw a high-scoring JV game earlier. The varsity is on track to look rather similar. Fenters lets a defender fly by and score. Fenters nearly to his average already. He averages 5. He's got 4. And again, the 1-2-2 zone. We saw 1 possession of box and 1 or diamond and 1. It has been this zone with Some beef on the wings for Speedway so far.
Nice pass.
How do you beat that zone? A diagonal pass like that. Ward's got 6. As a team, Lutheran averaging 55 points a game. And defense has not been a strong suit of this Speedway bunch this year.
No.
They're allowing 66 a contest. Metallic misses.
And a lot of times, Greg, they come in groves. They come in waves. We'll play really well for a while and then give up an 8-0 run or a 10-1 run or whatever.
Third Lutheran turnover. Fenters then proceeds to give it right back. Second time Speedway's giving it away. Ward on the drive and got the bump that time for Metallic, which will be his first foul, and team's first as well. And L.J. Ward will go to the free throw line to shoot 2. First free throws of the game for the visitors from the southeast side of town. So Ward, a 76% free throw shooter. 2 years ago, this Lutheran squad won 21 games. They simply had the misfortune of being in the same sectional as Tindley, a Tindley team that would go on to make the semi-state round. And then they had the misfortune of playing a Bar Reeve team led by a current Division I player in Kurt Hope, a couple of great players in the Crossroads League on that team as well. That was the rare year of class basketball where you could have easily taken the 4 champs from that season and had another tournament and any one of the 4 of them could win. That does not go for Ward as he misses both free throws.
And you may remember way back when, the first year of class basketball, they had a tournament of the champions at Hinkle Fieldhouse, I believe.
And that did not go well.
Did not. Did not.
Lasted 2 years, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
2-3 this time down for the Sparkplugs. And again, Chuck Bennett said, hey, we're going to play a lot of different defenses in tonight's game. So they're giving this Lutheran bunch something to think about every time down the floor. Ball kicked by Metallic.
Coach Bennett traditionally has been a man-to-man coach. He loves to play man-to-man. If he had his preference, that's what he would do. But sometimes you just have to adjust to who you're playing and the talent level and the athleticism and things like this. And I do think this is a lot better move for us.
Ron, one of my favorite quotes, necessity is the mother of invention. And at 2-14, that's kind of where Chuck is from a defensive standpoint. By the way, Creighton Bennett, let's also mention he is in the game as well. 6'3" senior, 3 points and 3 rebounds a game. Offense will start to churn now with 10 remaining here in the quarter. On the drive, good strong take. Loescher gets his second bucket, and that's it, and that's all for quarter number 1. 18-15 now. Saints with a 3-point lead. Your observations on the opening 8 minutes?
Very exciting from a fan standpoint. A lot of points in the first quarter. From the Speedway perspective, I'm not sure this is a game that you can continue to play for 32 minutes. Not that we need to slow the ball down a little bit, but we got to do a little bit better job defensively. As you mentioned earlier, when you play that zone, there's a lot of openings. And so far, the Saints have done a great job of driving the lane, getting some open looks underneath the basket. So I just don't think we can outscore them. That would be my take in terms of going forward. We have handled the basketball pretty well. I think we've only got a couple of turnovers. Shot the ball pretty well indeed.
Scoring in the first quarter for Lutheran, Ward was 6, Loescher 4, 3 for Ali and Jones, both from three-point range, and Cam Patterson got a bucket as well. All the points coming from 3 sources for the Sparkplugs so far. Drew Metallic with 6, Nate with 5, and Cody Fenters with 4. Nate Metallic scored the first 5 points of the quarter for Speedway, has not scored since that time. Perhaps he's more of a featured piece as we enter quarter number 2. The student section right at center court, standing over the shoulder of Cale Bennett as he is to inbound this basketball. And Lutheran played maybe a possession or 2 of 1-3-1. They have been mostly man, and they go back to it here. And Metallic has one of the rare possessions where he's got somebody every bit as long as he is guarding him. Playing the passing lanes was Ali. Leaves it for Patterson. I think he was thinking dunk. He wisely changed his mind and laid it up and in. And now make it 6 different Saints that have scored, and Lutheran has scored the last 6 points of this game.
And as you said, they're a very balanced team. But these are the areas that throughout the year we have played some really good basketball, but these are the little runs that we've been unable to avoid a lot of games this year, and it's right important now that we get a good offensive possession.
Man-to-man for Lutheran on the inbounds pass. 5-out set here for the Plugs.
KJ Patterson drawing the defensive assignment on Nate Metallic. Good double. That time by Ward. Another steal.
Yeah.
And defense turns to offense. Quickly blocking foul against Speedway. Aiden Ali will shoot 2.
And that was a good call.
Stevan Jones that got the steal at the other end. So first foul on Drew Metallic.
Most officials would tell you that the block charge is probably the most difficult, and that one was a pretty easy one. It was not squared up to the ball handler at all.
Ron, I would be a big proponent of adding the college and professional semicircle into the lane, because I'm all for making things as easy as it can be for our officials.
Ditto. Completely agree, and it's really helped collegiately. I watch more than I do professional, but it's made their job a lot easier.
Lutheran as a team, 59% from the free throw line. I bring that up because they're 0 of 4 so far in this one.
Hard to believe.
Good pressure, though, applied, and turnovers starting to add up for the Plugs. That's now 4. On the drive, Ward couldn't finish. And last touch by a Speedway player. And as we mentioned, Tinley, they're still in the same sectional as Lutheran, sectional 59. Those two in Greenwood Christian Academy, the likely favorites of that group, is way too easy on the inbound. Cam Patterson the touch, and so far all the points in the quarter belong to Lutheran.
And again, these are critical points in the game.
Metallic the miss. Throw it up top, Metallic, good read. 4th Lutheran giveaway. Second time he has kind of read that pass coming against the zone, and then a rather unnecessary foul by Jones. Just kind of put his hands into the man on the drive.
As Coach Bennett said earlier, many times we'll interview a senior after the game, after a win. We interviewed Nate early in the year, and very intelligent. It was one of the best interviews of a high school player that I've ever done since I've been doing this. A lot of fun talking to him.
Which makes places like Wabash Shrine and Elmhurst, make
Absolutely.
a lot of sense in terms of what his future could be like.
Good pass.
Drew Metallic lines it up for 3. He made a couple earlier. Both the Patterson twins on the floor now for Lutheran, and it was KJ that tracks it down. 2-3 this time down for the Plugs. Lutheran doing a good job of overloading his side. Sneaking behind the zone, and good recovery on the block by Fenners. It'll remain Lutheran basketball.
For years here, Greg, when Coach Pollard was here, the matchup zone was the staple of Speedway for many years. We even played it a little bit whenever you're playing against teams that are more athletic than you. It really was a kind of a neutralizer. And when you talk about Bill Green at Marion in that, I know Digger Phelps played it, but as far as I know, it originated right here with Mr. Pollard.
Well, I am a big proponent of the matchup zone from my days of calling the games for IUPUI when Ron Hunter was the head coach. And, from a college standpoint, that guy that is associated with the Division I level as kind of the czar of the matchup zone would have been Don Chaney in his days at Temple. Or John Chaney, I should say, in his days at Temple. Don, of course, former Boston Celtic that coached for many years in the NBA. But the key to playing that matchup zone is having that center fielder, having that guy that's calling every assignment in the middle of that matchup zone. So Jones will trigger it in. Left side of the lane. Man-to-man this time. Mm-hmm. And obviously a lot of teams will change that on the inbounds pass. And a lot of teams will zone inbounds. Well, when you've been zoned, then you go man.
Right.
Metallic on the double, but they're going to get Landon short for, again, just kind of putting the forearms in the back and impeding the progress of Patterson, the low block.
We played some matchup defense over the years, and actually Coach Bennett called it the Temple zone.
Well, tipped away. 5th Lutheran turnover. Short. Good aggressive take, but the driving lane was cut off. Plugs looking for their first bucket of the quarter. That is still the case as Patterson closed it down. Patterson was the leading returning scorer of this Lutheran team last year. He's actually averaging less points now as a senior than he did as a junior. Lutheran lost about 40 points off of that 19-win team. Bennett, the diving effort to track it down. Short, good move, but better recovery by Lutheran, and eventually Patterson out there with a basketball. Good kick. Now firing the wing three, that does not go. Landon Short has it poked out of bounds by Cam Patterson and remains with the Sparkplugs. The Lutheran scored just 4 points in the first 3:11 of this quarter. 4 more than Speedway has. 22-15 is our tally as we hit the midway stretch of quarter number 2. Lone game of the week for the Sparkplugs. They will then play 4 in the final 8 days of the season to close up shop before they get to the 3A sectional. It is a variety of bodies that are on the floor currently. The arrow points the other direction.
I think sometimes, too, when you play a team that appears to be more athletic, sometimes you want to try to do things that you're not capable of.
Right.
I think I've seen us do some things tonight that try some spin dribbles and play quick, and that's really not the game that we're accustomed to. It's not the game that is going to make us most successful.
Lesson Bambo is in there as well for Speedway. Make sure we mention him, the 6-foot junior. 2 points and 2 rebounds a game. McCaney has returned for Lutheran.
A lot of 2- and 3-sport athletes for Speedway. Landon Turner, football player. Robinson, football player. Metallics, soccer players.
Good movement against this zone. McCaney, though, there was either offensive foul or a drag of the pivot foot, and they went with the latter. So the defensive game plan has kicked in here for Speedway. Is that the offense has gone stagnant.
Yep. The driving lanes have closed up very quickly with the Lutherans' ability, their quickness. A lot of times we'll be able to get lane days down the middle, and not so much tonight.
Metallic forces the issue, and the one thing that Lutheran can do that I'm sure Nate has not seen that much of during the season is having guys of a similar height and level of athleticism guarding him. Lutheran's got a couple 3 players that can do that.
Yeah.
Both teams with missed opportunities. That was a tip by Lutheran. So Robinson now will check back in.
Evan
will
Robinson
have a seat.
Also on Shane Clampett's football squad.
And at a school of this size, that is key.
Yeah.
You have to have kids that play multiple sports. Nice drive, but couldn't complete the pass. Ball finds Metallic, and
finally
he scores for the first time in, about 11 minutes. And Speedway scores for the first time this quarter. And again, with that, they are still down to a good Lutheran squad by just 5. And again, now that top of that zone flattens out a little bit. And trying to get out and guard shooters. Line drive 3 does not go. And that'll be a displacement foul on McCaney. 6 fouls, so no free throws on that just yet. And again, frankly, the scouting report against both of these teams is given that 3-point shot because they combined to make less than 7 a game between these two teams.
That's why a lot of the teams we play will play a sagging man or some sort of a zone that they dare us to shoot that.
In the air before the 3-point shot, there was the box and one, and then there was the box. In other words, you didn't get outside of 16, 17 feet to guard your man. That is rare to see that these days because of everyone's reliance on the 3.
Yeah.
3 by Bennett does not go. Steps called. One of the things that Remus Woods will talk to his team about is taking care of the basketball. 13 turnovers is what they average per game. They're sitting on 7. 2.5 to play before we get to the intermission. One 4 high set here for Speedway. Trying to use that aggressive nature of Lutheran defensively against them for potential drive to the basket or backdoor cut like that. Good look that would not go. Robinson poked it free for a moment. Metallic, though, never could officially come up with it. Ali. Loescher. Window. No. Play continues.
A lot of activity, not a lot of points.
That continues. Finally it goes for Loescher. So Loescher was 6. He and Ward each leading this balanced Lutheran effort. Ward has not scored since the opening quarter. Bennett sets the screen for Metallic. Almost a carry. Did a good job of not touching that ball while it was up around his shoulder. Ball stripped. Finds its way to Metallic. He'll finish, but not get it to go. Long rebound. He'll try again, and that should be a blocking foul. It will be. And Metallic will go to the line where he is a perfect 3 of 3 on the night. Ward whistled for the foul, his first. Metallic, the only player that has attempted a free throw tonight for the Plugs. And misses that one.
As I said earlier, Nate's a 4-year starter for Speedway.
Landon Short back in there as Creighton Bennett gets a seat. 3 seniors in this rotation. Metallic gets that to go.
Very important minute here. Minute 8 to go. Plugs got to hold this where it's at.
Deep 3. Ward, yes, sir. Stepped into that one. He's got 9. He's the third different Saint to connect from distance. And the 9-point lead as large as it has been the entire game for Lutheran. Metallic shot blocked by Loescher. You mentioned that important minute. There's an awful big difference between being down by 6 and being down by double digits, and that's the dangerous territory the Plugs were in. However, Bennett read it perfectly.
Big play.
Since you referenced if your football is soccer, that is a goalie cutting off a cross. That is exactly what Cale just did. He sees that in the fall, read it perfectly there on the basketball court. You don't want somebody to beat you back post.
Transfer skills.
There's a lot more connectivity between those two sports than most people realize. Closing seconds. Lutheran's got to go. Ali does just that. 3 for Smith. That's good. And again, kind of against their usual form, Lutheran's knocking down some 3-point shots. They've made 4 so far. And a team that, again, can make a deep run in 1A has a 10-point lead here at halftime. Our score at the break, 30 for Lutheran, 20 for Speedway. Stay tuned. Third quarter action is coming up your way in just a matter of moments. You're watching Speedway Sparkplug Basketball on Speedway Community TV and the ISC Sports Network. Welcome back on Speedway Community TV and the ISC Sports Network. Halftime of this Indiana Crossroads Conference game is Lutheran leading Speedway by a score of 30-20. Alongside Ron Probst, Greg Rakestraw with you. Thank you so much for joining us, Coach. Your observations from half number one.
I think the steal by Cale Bennett there at the end of the first half, even though we gave up the three-pointer, was very, very big. Sparkplugs on the first half shooting 27%. On the season as a team shooting 43%. So I think the Lutheran quickness and making us do some things offensively, taking shots, even though they're all within reason. We talked many times about what a good shot is. It's not only where it comes from, it's also what the score is, what the time in the game is, and the runs of the games and things like that. I think we got to clean that up a little bit. 4 for 5 from the free throw line. Lutheran, as you mentioned, 0 for 4. It's hard to believe a team like this, and I think that could come back later in the season in a big game. They're not a very good free throw shooting team. Turnovers, Sparkplugs 5, Lutheran 8. Lutheran's 13 for 26 from the field. A lot of those inside, a lot of those drives, a couple putbacks. Tell you what, I've really been impressed with Lutheran's ability to get to the offensive boards. Very aggressive, all of them. And I think that's something that Coach Bennett probably will address in the locker room at halftime as well.
Is Coach getting out of the zone what he had hoped for in half number one?
Yeah, probably. I think this is a team you want to slow them down. And whatever we're doing defensively, I know we've done it, changed back and forth 3 or 4 times, but none of that does any good if you turn the ball over, which we've done pretty good at that. But if you give up second shots, to me, that's one of the most demoralizing things as a coach or as a player, to play good defense. Yeah, I remember when Ray McCallum was at Ball State, his slogan was one bad shot, which means we want to give them bad one, but we only want to give them one. And that first half, I think too many times they got some offensive rebounds that really hurt us.
15 points in the opening quarter, just 5 for the Plugs in quarter number 2. What has to change on the offensive end for Coach Bennett's team?
Again, I just think slowing down a little bit. We don't have to shoot right away. I think sometimes we come down, we take quick shots. You got to make that defense move. You got to get them going back and forth. The ball cannot get stuck in somebody's hand, and that's done it a couple times too in the first half. But we got to get the ball reversed back and forth, and then look for your chance to attack. That chance to attack is not always on the first dribble or the first time you touch the ball.
Scoring in the opening half for Lutheran, Ward with 9, Loescher with 6, 4 for Cam Patterson. 3s on 3 for DeRay Smith, Aiden Ali, and Devon Jones. 2 for KJ Patterson. Rashawn McCaney played but did not score for the Saints. For Speedway, their points came from 4 players. Nate Metallic with 8, Drew Metallic with 6, Cody Fenters 4, Cale Bennett 2, Devin Robinson, Landon Short, Creighton Bennett, and Blessin Bambo all played but did not score. It'll be Sparkplug basketball to begin quarter number 3. I think we are in need of a towel around the Lutheran bench, hence the reason for a slight delay to start quarter number 3.
And it may help if we get a bigger towel than the one that Coach Murley has. Hopefully he can get it all off there.
It's like he borrowed somebody's hand towel from like one of the residences next door.
Yeah.
We might lean more of the beach level towel to help cover that up. We talked about things that, as basketball aficionados / nerds that drive you nuts. I get to do a decent amount of college basketball, and high schools are almost the exact same way. Every college has these wonderfully nice padded chairs with which you can sit down on the bench where you're not on the court of play. But almost every college has these managers that brings these chairs out on the middle of the floor. And invariably we have to wait to then clean up that floor from where guys have been sitting for 90 seconds. If I was the czar, I'd eliminate that. You all go to your bench.
You probably also remember the time when the coaches would draw with chalk on the floor.
Absolutely, because I'm that old. Metallic with 10. So Metallic started the first possession with 2 free throws for the Plugs, and back in quarter number 1, brings him back with an 8. And the only wrinkle that I see in the zone now in the 2-3, Metallic have been kind of playing on the wing. Now they're putting him in the center along that back line of the zone. And 4 threes by 4 different players from Lutheran make it 5 as Smith who from a percentage standpoint is their best three-point shooter at 37%. The lead now 11, and Metallic loses it. 3v1. Ward, no. Smith, yes, he's got 8. And the lead now grows to a baker's dozen at 13, the largest for Lutheran. Good inside out. Bennett spots it up for 3. That does not go. Long rebound to Drew Metallic. He is fouled on the floor by Loescher. Bill Parcells, known for many things in his days as NFL coach, but maybe the quote that he is most famous for is, "You are what your record says you are." As Metallic gets that to go. And the Speedway team is 2-14 and flirting with 2-15. But again, you see they've got some pieces. I think they're a better basketball team than that record would indicate.
I would agree. And again, a lot of it is just you go down the schedule. Greenwood Christian beat us by 2 points. We were into a lot of games till late.
Smith, by the way, now with 8, all of the points that Lutheran has had in the first 100 seconds of the second half, and their lead is 14.
Outscored us 8-2 here to start the quarter.
Metallic fouled on his way to the bucket. We mentioned the fact that the majority of schools that are showing interest in Nate are at the NCAA Division III level. I think that young man could be a star at that level. On the back cut, good curl, and just couldn't finish. Venters. Amongst those schools that are talking to him, Wabash, they were in the national semifinals a year ago. Led by Jack Davidson, who played at Hamilton Southeastern. Became Wabash's all-time leading scorer and is now playing professionally in Australia.
Oh, wow.
That does not happen much at the Division III level. That's how talented that young man was. On the slip, Patterson off the window. His second bucket. Good take that time by Loescher. Fenner's on the drive. Smith did just enough to bump him and draw the foul. But all of a sudden you blink and it's a 16-point lead for the visitors.
Yeah, the 2 threes they hit here have really been important. And again, we are not able to run up and down with the Lutheran Saints. But you were talking earlier about you are what your record is, and that's exactly true. But you've been around, and I've been around many years. When you get close to that sectional tournament and all of a sudden you get in a 1 game and out, and you don't have to win 4 out of 7, and you pull a few things that the other team hasn't seen, and all of a sudden you get a little bit more confident, things can change.
As of February 28th, their record is 0-0.
Yep.
Same as everybody else.
Yep. And we both have seen it many times where that happens.
Patterson will pull from 14. That does not go. Smith, again, doing some damage from the three-point line, but also hanging around the brown paint as well. And he'll go to the free throw line to shoot 2. And to give you an idea of the rarity that it is for Smith to go to the line, by the stats on Max Preps, he is 2 for 2 from the free throw line this year. Make it 3 of 3. So he's got 12.
That's almost unbelievable. And I think that kind of rivals at Purdue a couple of years ago, the good shooter from Carmel. I don't think he shot a free throw till like his junior year.
Because he never got closer than 21 feet.
No.
That being Ryan Klein.
Ryan Klein.
13 for Smith. Had the pleasure of calling a bunch of his games at Carmel, and that was a joy to watch him in action. Sam Orm, who is there now, is a taller version of Ryan. He's going to play at Belmont. On the drive and dish, Bennett able to dislodge Ward. Short, waiting on the other end, scores it. And a timeout called by Speedway as the ball was inbounded, and the official will kind of give him the leniency of saying that timeout was called before the ball was inbounded.
Just one of those games where you're hoping that the bad thing doesn't happen. You're hoping that the 4, 6, 8 point run doesn't get us down 20 points. You know, and high school kids a lot of times don't understand. Like right now it's 14 points. You score the next 4 or 5, you're down 9 or 10. They score the next 4 or 5, you're down 19 or 20. And it starts down here at the defensive end, at least with us it does. The success that we've had this year, the 2 games we've won, the games that we've been competitive have been on the defensive end.
Monrovia and Cascade, the 2 foes that Speedway has successfully defeated so far this year. We went over the Speedway schedule and what's coming up next for Lutheran. They too have 4 games left after this one. They will play at Covenant Christian coming up on Tuesday, then host Chittard on Friday. Then Lutheran wraps up ICC play at the home of the Bulldogs next Saturday, and they will play in Brownsburg at Bethesda Christian. That game comes up next Thursday, or in 2 Thursdays, I should say, from now, February the 23rd.
If you're a Speedway fan and you're looking at the original schedule, Shortridge would have appeared early. That was a game that was canceled a couple of weeks ago because of the snow. So it's February 22nd. It's a Wednesday evening.
Man-to-man this time down by Speedway. Loescher pulls from the elbow. He's got 8.
They've got a lot of weapons.
It's been points in bunches so far this half for the Saints as Speedway turns it over. Both teams hit a lull in quarter number 2. Lutheran kind of shot their way out of that late in the quarter. But they have scored 14 points in the first 3.5 minutes, and they have got the basketball with a 16-point lead. Ali for 3. Does not go. Everybody was kind of rotated up towards the top of the key there for the Saints. So an uncontested rebound for the Plugs, and Metallic just got going a bit too fast. The younger of the 2. Ward, good look that would not go. Short with a solid rebound for the Plugs. But the defensive intensity now extending past the half-court stripe here for Lutheran. Metallic on the spin and got it to go. Nate Metallic with a dozen. I think right now the goal for Speedway is get this to single digits by the 4th quarter. Give yourselves an opportunity. Lutheran content to pound the pavement for a moment. Going to try to draw Speedway out defensively a little bit.
I'm sure you saw the score the other night from an Oklahoma high school where the score was 4-2, and a lot of people are, well, we need a shot clock. Well, that's one game out of. I do not want to see a shot clock in high school.
Well, there's several reasons that I can say I don't think it's going to happen, and most of them have nothing to do with the actual flow of the game, and that is expense and qualified shot clock operators.
Yes.
Nice drive and dish, but McCaney, more of a post threat, not a guy that's going to look for that 3-point shot, is the 6'5 sophomore. On the drive, shot contested by Drew Metallic. You hear the Lutheran bench saying, extend that pressure. Go get him defensively. Wing 3 Metallic, yes sir. That's Drew's 3rd made 3. He's averaging 5.5 a game, but he's got 11, and now that's what the lead is down to for Lutheran.
Lutheran, the last couple of possessions, being a little bit more patient than they were earlier. This is, again, something they may want to be doing once they get deeper in the sectional tournament, pulling the ball out with a lead of 10 points or more. Sometimes that's not always good.
Drive and dish, scoop, does not go. Good job on the crash, though. Ward slow to get up, and a timeout was called by Lutheran because I think they were, to some degree, stagnant offensively, and Remus Woods will ask for time. Both teams now with 3 timeouts remaining with 2:09 left to go here in quarter number 3, and the lead as large as 16, now down to 11 for the Saints at 44-33. If you're Chuck Bennett, what are you stressing to your guys in this break right now?
Well, I'm going to echo what I just said a minute ago. It's got to start on the defensive end. And we can only give them one shot. It still, to me, seems to be the trouble down here. If we can do that, we're going to have some chances to score. But if we cannot trade baskets with the Lutheran Saints, and that's kind of the trap you fall into at this time. You feel good about scoring, but unless you get stops at the other end, and Lutheran Saints are much more capable of running off 7, 8 in a row than what we are. And I think Coach Bennett cannot be too displeased with defensively, but it's got to be even better.
Ward has not scored since halftime. And most of the damage has been done by Smith. He's got 10 of their 14. Smith currently on the sidelines getting a breather. Good read that time.
Got to get a rebound here.
Got bumped by McCaney. And Landon Short will shoot 2. Landon only a 49% shooter on the season. Both teams, by the way, now with 8 total turnovers in tonight's game.
Landon's free throws fundamentals are not bad. And we talk a lot of times about how that one was not great. You get a little bit more harsh on it. But the only way you can get better at free throw, it's not going to happen from November until March. It's got to be from March until November, and just shooting and shooting and shooting. We've talked several times professionally. Henry Bibby used to stand off to the side. Rick Barry shot underhand. It doesn't matter how they go in. If they go in, it doesn't matter.
On the drive, Ali got bumped. Robinson the rebound.
Plugs getting some chances here to close the gap.
Metallic, I think his best scenario was to draw a foul on that play, and he absolutely did. See if it's on the shot or on the drive. They'll give him credit for going up. So 2 free throws coming up here for Nate Metallic.
Already 6 fouls on Lutheran Saints. Plugs will be in the bonus for the rest of the half.
As a team, Plugs are 65% from the line, but the guy that gets there the most is 86% in Metallic, and he's 5 of 6, so he's statistically 3 points off that average so far today.
Very good math.
Got that to go. Were you perhaps a math teacher?
Yes, I was.
There you go.
I was.
I was having this conversation with a friend of mine. You kind of buck the trend of basketball coaches. Normally, the basketball coach is the history teacher. The football coach, of course, teaches advanced physical conditioning. And the baseball guys are the math guys, because they're the ones all about the averages. Blocked by Robinson and rebound by Metallic. Short runs the floor. Good job of getting, just kind of nudging Patterson to get some space. Short with 4. It's down to a 7-point game.
That was a great individual move by Landon Short. As you said, screened himself out from the defensive player, and probably could have drawn the foul as well.
Just enough to not get the offensive foul, but create that little bit of space. Good look by Ward. Patterson could not finish, but he's in perfect rebound position. Short gives the foul, and Cam Patterson, who struggles from the line himself, will go to the line and shoot 2. He's 46% on the year.
That was a big man's rebound right there by Robinson.
Patterson misses. And as a team, Lutheran 2 of 7 from the line. Then rattles that one home. Patterson's got 5, 8-point lead for Lutheran. It was 10 at halftime. Largest lead at 16. Metallic lost the handle. And then Ward, Bennett was doing his darndest to give the foul before he got a shot up, and did.
That was a good foul. I'm not sure it was planned that way, but it was a good foul. It's only the team's 3rd.
Metallic lobbying who he can, saying, hey, the reason I lost the ball is I got kind of swiped at. Pointing to a war wound on his right bicep for the effort as well. Loescher, tough pass to complete.
Oh, nice cut.
Great basket cut. Better effort by Metallic, though, to knock that ball away from Jones. And then Metallic going to be fouled on the blocking foul, which is the team's 7th. So Metallic will go to the line to shoot 1 plus the bonus. Aiden Ali commits the foul. It'll be his 2nd foul. The official scorer asking a question reason for the delay. I would assume it's who the foul was signaled on more so than total team fouls. Or they're trying to make sure that the board and official score match. It could be the Lutheran score that said, hey, my numbers don't match. It's the home book that matters.
Have you ever kept the scorebook in the game?
I have.
It's not easy to do.
No.
But you've got to watch.
And so that's again why the visiting scorer asks. You go to the home score and say, hey, how many team fouls do you have? The scorer said 6, so somehow the scoreboard got one ahead, which is why we're not shooting free throws here. It is always the home book that serves as the official score. Metallic misses. Throw it up top. Nice. Loescher, well done.
Very well done.
Loescher with 10. And then a technical foul was just given to the Speedway bench, which also means the ball will then go back to Lutheran as well. So 2 free throws that Ali will take. And then it will be the ball back to Lutheran with 2.3 seconds left to go here in the quarter. And Pick Russell will come have a conversation with Chuck Bennett at the end of it. It was brief. And there is still seemingly some conversation going on about what the official score should be. Now, frankly, you shouldn't be freezing the free throw shooter. He should get to shoot his shot and can do that while this conversation is taking place over at the scorer's table.
And whatever the discrepancy here is, it happened in the second half. I know at the end of the first half, scorekeepers will always go down the line. We got 1 foul on 42, got 2 fouls, but this discrepancy was here in the third quarter.
So Ali will shoot 1 more.
This is a big turn of events right here.
And misses that one.
That helped.
So again, in college and pros, a technical foul is no longer a possession violation. It is in high school. So the ball goes back to Lutheran. Got time for a dribble or 2. Robinson, good hustle to step in front of the passing lane and take a second off the clock for his efforts. Now it largely has to be a catch and shoot with 1.1 left to go. Ward right back. Loescher in time, but not on target.
Good idea.
But much as it was at the end of the second quarter when Speedway kind of got back within 6 or 7, a couple of late buckets, stretched the lead back to double figures. It's 11 now going to the fourth quarter. And what's going to happen now, Ron, to start this quarter for Speedway to give themselves a chance down the stretch?
I would be surprised if we continue to change up on defenses. We might. But I think we're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive defensively. We do have a 1-3-1 half-court defense that we have played throughout the year from time to time. We also have done some things full court, not necessarily to steal the ball, but maybe just to get the Lutheran Saints out of the rhythm. So, again, I'm going back to the defensive end. It's going to have to start there. But I don't see us being passive defensively. I don't think we're going to. We may see zone, but I don't think we will. I think it's going to be a man-to-man. From the Lutheran Saints, you know, as a coach, you tell your guys, all right, their level right now, we're at 11 points. Next level is 15. Next level is 16. That's what you play for. You don't really look at the board. We need to get 4 points more than what they do in the next 3 or 4 minutes. You just keep building up levels.
14 for Nate Metallic, 11 for Drew Metallic to pace the way for Speedway. DeRay Smith with 13, Caden Loescher 10, and L.J. Ward didn't score in the third quarter. He still has 9 to help carry the freight for Lutheran. Loescher, tough shot that got it to go.
And that was a nice set play out of the third quarter timeout.
Lozier just a sophomore. Same with Ward of this group for Lutheran. Metallic on the handoff. Waits for a defender to fly by and misses. Patterson the rebound. Quick outlet from Cam to KJ. KJ off the window, no, but Ward is there to put it back in.
I think I'd be tempted to call a timeout here.
Back to a 15-point game. And largest lead, 16. Robinson finds an angle. However, Robinson couldn't finish over Patterson, and Patterson with a rough landing. Let's hope that he is all right. Yep. Trainer out quickly. I'm not sure if this is kind of a Charlie horse or a cramp, or he landed awkwardly. So McCaney will come back in. Quickly, Cam Patterson over to the bench for Lutheran.
Devin Robinson went in for that layup and was going in with his right hand, which was not the way to go up against a shot blocker.
Robinson was also giving up 8 inches in that.
Yeah, there was a lot of issues going on with that play.
Yeah.
Devin's a really good football player, though. He's done a great job for Coach Clampett on the football team.
Second leading scorer as well for the Sparkplugs this year at just under 10 points a game. Blesson Bambo in quickly. And short, fouled on the floor, and that will send Speedway to the free throw line for 1 plus the bonus. McCaney whistled for the foul, his third. So short, 0 for 2. Got that to go.
Plugs electing, as usual, to put everybody back on defense, which I would agree with.
Makes them both that time. A little half-court trap here by Speedway. Obviously got to do something a little different, trailing by 13 with 6:45 to go. Good look that would not fall for L.J. Warden. Got to control the glass as Speedway did, and then the hand check foul. What you can't do if you're Lutheran is give Speedway looks from the free throw line, which is exactly what just happened.
Especially the one that's at the free throw line.
Devon Jones with the foul, his second. And Nate Metallic, 1 plus the bonus, and missed it. His second miss of the night.
A little flex offense run by Lutheran. Good motion by the entire team. A lot of movement, a lot of ball movement, a lot of player movement.
Make the team that is trailing by 13 work at the defensive end. Make them chase you.
Yep.
You're not exactly going stall, but what you're doing here is you're running your continuity offense to have some longer sets and keep that clock rolling. Also draw Metallic out defensively, which opens up the lane. Lozier lays it up and in and gets fouled. And frankly, we saw Lutheran start to do that a little bit in the third quarter too. And not trying to take the air out of the basketball, just trying to make sure they get the defense to come out and get them to open up those driving lanes.
We refer that to red light, yellow light, green light. Green light is you're playing up and down no matter what. Yellow is like, we're going to be a little bit more cautious. Red light is free throws or layups.
Lozier with 15 to lead all scores. And once again, Lutheran matches their largest lead now with 5:45 to go. Drew Metallic for 3. That's his 4th of the game. And a timeout taken. It'll be of a 30-second variety. After this, Speedway will have 2 full timeouts remaining, while Lutheran has 2 30s and a full that they can use to slow things down. Is there a potential full court press in the offing here for Speedway?
I would think so. I would think so. I would say more, not necessarily to steal the ball in the backcourt, but perhaps to get a trap right over the 10-second line. I don't think we can go after him. Or it may be a 1-3-1 as well. We'll see.
Right now, Speedway backing up into the half court.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be man-to-man.
They'll pick up at the top of the three-point line with the Sparkplugs. And Ward will bring this ball to the front court. McHenry plays with 4 fouls. That's in part because Cam Patterson left the game with that leg injury. Ray Smith's been sitting on the bench for a while. He and Coach Woods having a conversation before DeRay goes to the scorers table. Long rebound, picked up by Bambo.
I'd say that's a shot that Speedway does not mind giving up at all.
Good job by Bambo to hang on to that. That would have been a pocket pick if he had let that ball leave his hands. Metallic in the lane, wouldn't go. That's a shot that as he gets older he'll finish, and then Metallic gives a foul, which is rather unnecessary because from 75 feet away, you just gave up 1+1 at the other end.
Many times the player will miss a shot or do something that's they know is not what they should be doing, and a little frustration mounts, and you make those kinds of plays. And younger players do that, older players don't. At this time of the game, though, as poor free throw shooting team as Lutheran is, maybe that was not a good foul, but you may look at something like that.
Correct, yep. Lozier with the 16 as he's made his 2 shots from the line. Both teams now shooting the bonus the rest of the way with 4:45 left to go. Misses that one, so 1-point trip. Good help by Lozier. The hustle by Short to keep the ball alive. Metallic, no. Good look that wouldn't go. And Ward, again, you can't foul there.
No.
You just can't.
Well, there's nothing good can come from that. And again, those are frustration fouls, and especially deep into the season, the game still is not out of reach, but you just can't make those plays.
So Ward 0 for 2 from the line, both those coming in the first half. Again, just 2 points for him since halftime, but it has not affected Lutheran that their leading scorer has been somewhat silent in half number 2. Missed that one as well. In my totals, I got Ward as a 76% shooter. Metallic.
Get in there.
As soon as he got Patterson in the air. And we had a look from the free throw line for 2.
And you can tell just by watching this game that Nate is our go-to guy. When we need a bucket, it comes down to him.
So Metallic with 15. The Metallic brothers have combined for 29 of the 43 for Speedway tonight. Lozier Metallic with 16 apiece to lead their 2 teams this evening. Four-corner time here for Lutheran. Lozier, Patterson, bucket. You referenced layups or fouls. We're at this juncture of the game for Lutheran.
Yep. Good execution.
And then Metallic throws it away. Ward had begun to cut towards the basket. Ali throws it behind him. You can live with that mistake if you're Coach Woods.
Yep.
And now a timeout given, or was that a technical foul given?
Might be a
That's technical foul. Yep. That's the second one given to the
bench.
Speedway bench. So it's 2 free throws and the ball at the other end coming up here.
Not exactly sure who that bench coach the technical foul was on.
So 14 now for Smith. Creighton Bennett will check in next. Stoppage in play for the Plugs. Smith has made all 4 of his attempts from the line tonight. Short will have a seat. Clearly those 2 technicals were on the same head coach or assistant coach, because that person would no longer be with us in tonight's game if that were the case.
I think that one was on an assistant coach.
And we are located about as far away from the bench as you can be in the building, so we don't have the luxury of kind of hearing that from our broadcast point. Behind the back dish, Patterson scores it. That's the icing on the cake right there. KJ with 8. The lead now its largest at 18 with 3:10 left to go.
You've said it several times tonight, the Lutheran team capable of making a little bit of run if they can get out of the sectional.
Yep. At some point in the regional, well, again, with the new format, not necessarily as if that's on Metallic, that might be his night with 2:47 left to go. Bloomfield's got a really good team, and Bloomfield would come out of sectional 57, so it's possible the winner of Lutheran sectional could see Bloomfield in the regional. May not see him for the semi-state. Metallic is done for the night. He did foul out with 16 points with 2:47 left to go.
As we talked earlier off the air, the ISSA altering how they're pairing up the regional winners and the semi-state winners. And
2-shot foul, by the way, 10th team foul, so 2 shots there for Ward. It's a 1-game regional this year, and then it is a 2-game semi-state, which is what it was in the opening days of class basketball. First 4 years, I think that was the case, and it's been the opposite for the last 2 decades. And the idea behind that is that it gets 32 communities talking about the semi-state and not 16. Metallic's shot does not go. Creighton Bennett, the rebound, and score it. Creighton Bennett's first bucket of the game.
And a lot of teams come off the sectional as a really, really big victory.
Yep.
Come back and only have to play 1 game makes a little bit more sense.
That has been talked about as well. The other law of unintended consequences that I like, we've got more great gyms that get used deeper into the tournament. I love the fact that the Bill Garrett Gymnasium gets a semi-state. I love the fact that Case Arena at Frankfurt gets a semi-state. McAnally Center at Greencastle is, you know, from the days of being in the West Central Conference, wonderful
great
place
gyms
to watch and play a basketball game.
It's been an ever evolving process since the first day 25, 26 years ago.
Smith lays it up and in. An effective possession there by Lutheran. Yeah, I'll have one way of marking the passage of time in terms of class basketball coming up at the end of March. Bennett's 3 does not go. I am lucky enough to get to MC the Hall of Fame banquet for the men every year on a Primo on the south side. And this will be the first time when we honor the state champs from 25 years ago that we will have 4 different teams to honor.
Oh, wow.
In other words, this is the 26th class basketball tournament, so 25 years.
So you have 4 teams.
Yeah, 4 teams, yep. First time that will happen. And that is a clobbering foul as C.J. Irvin, a senior, doesn't get to play all that much. Hence you can hear the bench from Lutheran get the ball to C.J. 12th guy on the bench is always the most popular guy on the team. Irvin's going to shoot 2. We'll be joined by Coach Bennett coming up at the conclusion of our broadcast tonight. Again, certainly not the outcome he wanted, but he knew it would be a tough hill to climb as Irvin gets the bucket to go. Also for Lutheran, Nash Tupper will check in for the first time.
Speedway outscored here in the 4th quarter 9-3, I believe. And again, the entire season has been kind of like this. Some opportunities, a lot of times, but not being able to stop runs. Been very close to some good teams. Big basket.
One thing that can carry over tonight, and Metallic has made 5 threes. You can do that and give yourselves a chance come postseason time. Speedway in the same sectional as Beech Grove, the defending 3A champs, and obviously it's a Beech Grove team that is still a very good 3A basketball team. They are not what they were a year ago because of no Anthony Ball in that program anymore. It is still a Beech Grove team with 10 seniors on the team.
We played them early in the season, first game, or second game. Greg, we were ahead 20-6 in that ball game.
Bambo with the bucket.
So we could play with them.
65-51. The pull-up does not go. Bennett the rebound, and Speedway and Bennett will simply just take the out of this one. That's enough. 65-51 is our final score. So Lutheran 10-7 on the season. Speedway falls to 2-15. We'll take this quick timeout. When we come back, we'll talk with the head coach of the Sparkplugs and Chuck Bennett, and we'll wrap this one up from the Morris Pollard Gymnasium. Again, Saints win it by 14 as you're watching on Speedway Community TV and the ISC Sports Network. Back for some final thoughts from the Morris Pollard Gymnasium against Speedway Falls, 65-51 to a really solid Lutheran team. Lutheran now 10-7. Speedway falls to 2-15. Greg Rakestraw, Ron Probst with you here on ISC and Speedway Community TV. Coach, overall, your final thoughts on this one?
Better team won tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty obvious. All the things that you would be concerned with before the game started came to fruition. Their athletic ability, the fact that they have a lot more ways that they can score than what we do. We started the game trying to do some different things. I think it was very effective for a while. But the Saints kind of got used to that, and we kind of sped our game up a little bit. And those big runs that they had there were a big deal. I've got Brian had the Lutheran Saints for 9 offensive rebounds. That might be on the low end. Seems like they got a lot of them. Turnovers pretty even. There were a lot of turnovers in the game from both teams. I'm sure that Lutheran Saints going into sectional probably saying, guys, we got to clean up some of these wild, turnovers. Although a team like that, sometimes those things aren't terrible because
right.
sometimes
Just part of how they play. Yeah.
Exactly. But for the Sparkplugs, it's it's back into the gym. We got, as you said earlier, we got 3 more games. We've got coming up Bethesda Christian. That's next week. Cecina at home. It's a Friday, Saturday doubleheader. And then we end up the season with Short Ridge and with Triton Central. So some tough games there left. But also got a couple, I think the sectional draw is 2 weeks from Sunday, I believe.
1 week from Sunday.
1 week from Sunday.
February 19th.
Holy cow.
I got the notes starting to put together already
okay.
for that one.
I was going to say, you can tell I don't coach anymore because when I coached, I think I was more nervous, not maybe necessarily nervous, but anticipation that day more than any, although we were in the Ben Davis sectional then, so it came early in the show. Now Sparkplugs will be 3A, so it's a little bit earlier probably, but that was always a big day for everybody. And, I was going to ask you this earlier. That's I think the NCAA kind of piggybacked off of that. I don't remember the NCAA having a show. I think the HSA had a show before the NCAA did on the drawings for the tournament. Yeah. I'm not certain on that, but I think there's some pattern there that they've copied what we've done. At least it seems like it.
It is one of the absolute coolest things I get to do every year is be a part of so many pairing shows, but especially knowing the audience that we now get for both the girls and boys pairing shows. And so, again, the next 2 Sundays, I'll be at the offices at 91st Meridian because we now have a second pairing show because we will draw the semi-state pairings live. So the girls' semi-state pairing show is Sunday at 3. The boys, which can be heard on radio stations across the state, seen on the IHSA Champions Network, that is next Sunday at 5. So I'm hopeful that Chuck has the viewing party and the party put together so we can give the Sparkplugs a little love on the pairing show.
And a lot of people don't realize that draw is done in like 20 minutes, basically, 25 minutes, the actual drawing.
Correct. We talk about it for 2 hours.
Well, and I go way back even earlier before it was on TV. It was done at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you'd have to wait to the local radio station wherever you lived to get before you went to school to get what the drawings were. But the exciting part of the year is coming up, and no matter what the records are, as you said earlier, come February, whatever, March, everybody's going to be 0-0. So that's what Coach Bennett's got to get through to our players, and they have to understand that.
Coach, an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for coming.
You got it, of course.
Thank you.
We'll take this quick timeout. We'll wrap the broadcast the way we always do. Head coach Chuck Bennett is making his way to our perch atop the building. We'll talk to him when we come back to wrap things up from Speedway. Lutheran wins this one by 14 on Speedway Community TV and the ISC Sports Network. Back for a final time this evening here at the Morris Pollard Gymnasium. Again, thanks so much to Ron Probst for joining me throughout the course of the broadcast. We finished the broadcast where we started it. Chuck Bennett atop with us. Again, 65-51 on the scoreboard. This one goes to the Lutheran Saints. Coach, what did you see that you liked from your young men tonight?
I think, we talked before the game, just we wanted to make sure we came out, tried to keep it close, be competitive, give ourselves a chance to win down the stretch. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it close enough to where it was a possession or two, but, I felt like in the fourth quarter, even when we got it down, I don't know how close we ever got it. It seemed like maybe 6 or 7 at some point. Just our kids were just battling, and different kids coming in, too. I liked the way we were subbing in kids, picking up our defense a little bit. I didn't think early we could play man as much as we did, but that ended up being a good key for us. And then offensively, we had some shots around the basket that didn't go in that could have helped in some situations. But overall, I don't think our kids quit at all, which is a testament to them. And again, I talked about how well they practiced and the fact that they're getting dialed in. And I think, too, just reacclimating Kale back in the lineup, getting different rotations. But in terms, that's a very good Lutheran team, very athletic Lutheran team. Obviously, our size inside hurt us a little bit. They're going to be reckoned with. Of course, Greenwood Christian's in their sectional, probably the top 2 teams. Of course, I sound like you on a couple
I like this.
But, So, again, as you said, the days are dwindling. Now we come back, and our JV team actually plays in the tournament on Saturday at Covenant Christian. They have to play Lutheran again, so that JV game was a good game. So we'll help them prepare, and then we'll have 4 days to prepare for 2 games next week. We go to Bethesda Christian, who's having a great year. Cecina's having a good year, and so we'll see what happens.
Sometimes you get this late in the season, and whether it's high school or college, we'll say, hey, if you're a freshman, you're not really a freshman anymore because you've had now 17 games worth. Drew Metallic for you tonight, had 5 threes, 17 points. What have you seen from him in his first varsity year?
He's really matured. At the beginning of the year, he started off, he's one of those guys who was like 3-2 and 4-1. And then, of course, he can shoot it, and that helps spread the offense a little bit. And I think as more teams see him, obviously, they'll close out on him. But he does a real nice job, has a real good presence. And I like the way all the players accept him, too, because sometimes, being a freshman, they may not accept, but that's not the case at all. And I'm sure, it's probably special to play with Nate as well. You talked about my 3 sons earlier, but to play with him. But, yeah, his presence on the floor and his ability to shoot. And then he's definitely getting stronger in terms of rebounding. He went and got some rebounds tonight, defensively getting better. So he'll be someone that people wouldn't have seen early on that'll help us in the sectional.
Let's talk about his older brother. Another solid night for him with 16 points. You and I talked about, again, he's going to play college basketball at some point next year.
Right.
Just what has he meant to your program these 4 years?
I'll tell you what, 4-year starter for us. He's going to be close to scoring 1,000 points, just depending on how things go. But I think what more than anything for us, especially this year, is the type of leader he's become. His effort in practice has picked up. He has not complained about. You could think somebody might complain about being on the 2-15 team. He is not. You can see he's unselfish. He gives the ball up. He makes people around him better. In fact, the one block shot he had, too, I don't think people realize how athletic he is. Yeah. He's sneaky athletic. But he played soccer on our soccer team. He was a great defender in the back. I think his feet are, even better that way. So what he's meant to our team is, hey, great leader, 4 years, but he's a great student. He's probably going to go to Trine or Wabash or Hanover or Franklin, Elmhurst. To go there, you also have to be a student athlete. Yes. So he helps coach our Little League team. So, there's all kinds of things that you can say about him, but his leadership in practice has been great.
I love hearing goalkeeper dad break down the footwork at the back. As a soccer guy and basketball guy, that warms my heart. Chuck, it is always good to see you.
Yes.
Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks for coming out. If everybody out there watching, make sure you turn in. This guy's probably the busiest man in Indianapolis radio. Colts post game, you got soccer Saturday, you do all the IHSA Champions Network. You turn on his voice, and it's nice. But thanks for coming out to Speedway. Appreciate it. Always great to see you.
Of course. For Chuck Bennett, for Ron Probst and Brian Pearson, the great staff behind the scenes, my name is Greg Rakestraw. Next 2 on the road for the Sparkplugs next weekend, Friday and Saturday. 2 more games in the Morris Pollard Gymnasium this season. Wednesday, February 22nd against Shortridge. Again, that's a makeup game from earlier this year. And then the season finale against Triton Central and ICC play on February the 24th. Again, your final score from the near west side of Indianapolis, 65-51 Lutheran over Speedway. Good night, and thanks for joining us on Speedway Community TV and the ISC Sports Network.